What's going on, Raider Nation? It is JT coming at you with another episode of the Raider Cast. And today is the day of feeling the Monday loss blues. It was a fucking awful game. No way ifs, ands, or buts about it. It was depressing. It was extremely disappointing. I haven't been this disappointed in the Raiders, I don't think, ever. I've never seen us lose such a winnable game in my life. It was just awful. I don't know what else to say. I ranted for hours on Twitter. I was fucking screaming. Or not screaming, I was internally screaming while I was at my school thing and watching the game, secretly on my phone. Just my shock of seeing Renfro. Hopefully he's okay. I'm sad that he's hurt, but like watching him fumble that ball and then it go for a touchdown, I was like, no way that just happened. Because in my mind, when we were 3 yards away from the field goal line, 3 yards away from having Daniel Carlson, one of the best kickers and most clutch kickers in the fucking game, line up for, at that point, a 58-yarder, which is entirely makeable for him, and we're throwing the goddamn ball. In my head, I'm like, this is not going to end well. With how Carr's been playing in the second half, it's going to look like shit. He's going to throw a pick or something's going to fuck up, and it was so frustrating. So frustrating. 3 points after leading 20-0 at halftime. We get 3 points in 2 quarters in overtime. 3 points. The defense held the Cardinals to 23. And I don't care what you say, that's a winnable game in today's NFL. 23 points is an absolutely winnable game. It's inexcusable how the offense played yesterday. It's disgusting that Davante Adams got 2 catches on 7 targets, and I posted the clip, so go check that out on my Twitter, of him being targeted. Awful throws. The whole second half, under 50% from Carr. He was 25 for 39 on the day with 2 touchdowns, 252 yards. Like, that's pretty decent, but you have Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, Davante Adams, a decent enough O-line, way better than last season, and you're playing worse or at the same as last season? When does it get to a point we start blaming Carr as a whole entire fan base and not just, I see a lot of people now being like, yeah, Carr needs to step the fuck up, because he does. And a lot of that was on coaching. Josh McDaniels should have ran the fucking ball with the lead. We ran 21 times total, and that was including Carr's 9-yard run. Including Carr's run, we had 21 rushes that game. The Cardinals, who were down 20-0 at halftime, had 28 rushes. How is that good at all? Why are we not running the fucking ball? We have 5 running backs on our team. One of them's hurt, which is Brandon Bolden, who I don't care. Not that I don't care that he's hurt. He's not the greatest running back, is my point. You have Britton Brown, who you didn't activate for the game. You only had Josh Jacobs, Zamir White, and Amir Abdullah active, plus Jakob Johnson. But you didn't activate Britton Brown? Why aren't we running the ball? Why do we even have 5 running backs at that point? Why did we get rid of Keelan Cole, who is now back on the roster because DJ Turner's hurt? Why aren't we throwing to Tyron Johnson, who's active for these games? Why are we not putting in Malcolm Kuntz, Cleveland Ferrell? Because clearly Chandler Jones is not doing well. He doesn't need to be rushing that many times in a game. He does not need to be playing every down. He's 34 years old as a edge rusher. You can't be having him on every down. He's going to get exhausted. He's a dog. He's trying. He's just old. He can't do it as well as he can anymore. Cleveland Ferrell has looked better than Chandler Jones at this point. You need to keep him fresh. Max Crosby can stay out there because he's young. He's 25. You can keep him out there. He's been playing great. But when Max Crosby is the only player on the defensive line that can actually rush the passer, we're going to have fucking problems. Playing Patrick Mahomes twice, Justin Herbert another time, and Russell Wilson two more times. Not to mention the other great quarterbacks we have to face because we finished second place and we're facing the NFC West this season. Jimmy G's a pretty good quarterback. We already faced Kyler Murray. We got 1 sack on him, which is fine, and it was Max Crosby, which is not a surprise. Bilal Nichols is now hurt. I don't know for how long, but he's hurt. He was out of the game. We have no defensive tackles. We have Chandler Jones has no help. So take him out. Let him rest. Put him in on rush downs because he's really good at rushing the passer. His run defense has been a lot better this season, but he's not rushing the passer very well. And I understand Patrick Graham's philosophy of stop the run first. But when the team is only passing the ball because they're down 20-0 at halftime, they're not going to run the ball that much anymore. And if they do, put them back in. But then they're wasting their own clock by running the ball. So I don't understand why we're not rushing the passer, focusing on rushing the passer when they're up 20-0. And if they start gashing us, we have great tacklers in the secondary and in the linebacker core that will stop them from getting a big rush. We don't need the defensive tackles to be tackling at the first point of attack. If they get through the defensive tackles, oh well. I'd rather a run to go for 5 or 6 yards than Kyler Murray have 20 seconds on a 2-point conversion to then score the 2-point conversion with his legs. That's ridiculous. And have Max Crosby in coverage and have 3 defensive tackles chasing Kyler Murray. How is that going to work? Now we have Andrew Billings and Jonathan Hankins as our best defensive tackles. Are we serious? And we're not even playing Hankins that much, which is baffling. And Billings is playing pretty decently, so I can't be that upset. But come on. I don't understand what's going on with this team. Derek Carr has been so disappointing. I don't care if it's a new offense. You look around the league, Brady struggled a little bit, but he still looked good at the beginning of his tenure in the Bucs. Patrick Mahomes just lost his best weapon he's ever had other than Travis Kelce, and they're putting up points. Justin Herbert has been playing really well. Russell Wilson's been struggling, but we knew he wasn't going to be that great. He's been declining. Matthew Stafford played pretty good at the beginning of the season last season for the Rams in a new system. And this is not even a totally new system for Carr. He's played this similar style of offense before when he had his 2016 season. It's not like this is a completely brand new scheme. And McDaniels, if Carr is not up to the task of throwing the ball when we're up by 20, run the fucking ball with Josh Jacobs, who had a pretty good game. 3.8 yards per carry, not great. I don't give a fuck. Start running Zeus. Start running Amir. Start running Jakob Johnson. I don't care. Run the fucking ball. You're up 20. Or we're up 20-7. And we started running the ball on the field goal drive, and what did we get? We got a field goal. Look at that. We needed one more drive to get a field goal and we win the game. This happened against the Chargers and we got fucking lucky that the Chargers are the Chargers and they choked away in Week 18. We were this close to losing to the Chargers in Week 18. I don't think people realize how close we were to losing because we couldn't close out the game. We were up how many points? We allowed 2 drives. The defense is going to get gassed. This is an offensive league. This is a pass-happy league, pass-heavy league. The defense can't hold up all the time. Offenses are just good. Unless you're facing a bottom-feeding, terrible offense, the offense is going to should be scoring minimum 20 points. 21 points, 3 touchdowns. Minimum. That's most teams have been scoring 2 to 3 touchdowns a game. Especially teams like the Cardinals and the Chargers who still have really good offenses, even if they're missing some of their best weapons. So the defense holding to 24 and 23, because I don't count the 29, because that's bullshit. That was on the offense giving up that last 6 points. Holding the Chargers and the Cardinals to 24 and 23 respectively should be enough to win a fucking game when you have Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs in your backfield. You have Zamir White, who's a rookie, Britton Brown, who looked really good in the preseason. You have Josh McDaniels calling plays. What is happening on the offensive side of the ball? And the defense didn't play great. I understand that. We got a pick. We got a sack. We finally got the things that we were looking for. Derek Carr didn't have a turnover, thankfully, but we had, we had basically 2 at the end. They caused turnover on downs, which is a turnover. They got 2 turnovers on downs. And how many points did we get out of it? Fucking 0. What happened after the first one? 3 and out. 24 seconds off the clock after a pretty long drive from the Cardinals. So is the defense really going to hold up after that? You're really putting your defense in a terrible, awful position by doing that. And they were on the other side, so obviously it's going to be like on the 40 when they punt it, because A.J. Cole can only punt it so far. So, what is happening on the offensive side of the ball? I don't give a shit about it being a new system. It's week 2. Get your shit together. If you're really a good QB, you should be hitting those throws more often. To Devontae Adams, you're missing Devontae Adams 5 times? How is that possible? He's had inconsistent throws across these past 2 games. His decision-making has been terrible. I just don't understand. I've been ranting and raving now, but I've had this pent up, and it's going to be pent up, and going into next week, I don't even think we're going to win that game against the Titans. I don't. I have no reason to believe that we're going to beat the Titans next week. I don't care that they lost to the Giants, and I don't care that they're probably going to get blown out tonight against the Bills on Monday Night Football. Because that's expected, because the Bills are the best team, one of the best teams in the league, or the best team. We're going to probably lose to the Titans next week, and then we're 0-3. How many teams make the playoffs starting 0-3 in a season? Especially in a division like ours. How many? You have the Denver Broncos, who are 1-1. The Chargers are 1-1. The Chiefs are 2-0. How can you expect to even come close to making playoffs when you're in a division as tough as this one? Never mind the rest of the AFC, who's looked really good. The Dolphins, the Ravens, the Bengals have looked like shit. But other than that, you have the NFC East looking okay. Can we really beat the Patriots right now? I don't even know if we could beat the Patriots right now. Could we beat the Jets? Yeah, maybe. They just came back against the Browns, and when the Browns get Deshaun, Rape Watson back, are we really going to be able to beat those Browns? With their defense? I don't think so. I don't want to hear any complaints about the defense so far. Unless we give up, 1,000 yards to Derrick Henry next week and we lose by like 40. And I said this last week. If Carr doesn't look good this week, I don't care how long it's been in this system. He needs to step the fuck up if he wants to be called a top 10 quarterback. If he wants to be known as a great quarterback. Because all we've seen is his peak in 2016 and constant mediocrity in a pass-heavy era of NFL football. No shit, he's going to have the passing record when he's been on the team for 9 years, and his only competition in terms of longevity at QB is Ken Stabler back in the 60s and 70s, who they didn't throw the ball that much. And Jim Plunkett, who was a journeyman quarterback until he reached the Raiders and was a 2-time Super Bowl champion. And again, that's the 80s. You didn't pass the ball that much in the 80s. And then the other competition he has for records is Rich Gannon, who was with the team for 5 years. So of course he's going to beat out Rich Gannon, Ken Stabler, Jim Plunkett, Darryl LaMonica, because they're all from before the 2000s. And then Rich Gannon was only here for 5 years, and he won an MVP and almost won the Super Bowl. So he can have all the records that he wants. He can have all the personal accolades like that don't help the team at all. Like pass yards record for the Raiders and pass touchdowns. All I care about is winning. And clearly, we haven't been doing that. And the common denominator this whole time, these past 9 seasons, has been one person. One person has been consistent other than Mark Davis. And that's Derek fucking Carr. And you can call me a hater all you want, but he needs to prove to me, I said this last week, he needs to prove to me and the fan base that he's a good quarterback. He has no more fucking excuses. This offense has been tailored to him showing off what he can do as a quarterback, and he's not stepped up to the task. He's proving everyone who has hated him or been a hater of him or doubting him right. He has Devontae Adams as his wide receiver 1, and he's done jack shit with it. The play calling has been dog shit as well, but at this point, I'm willing to give Josh McDaniels a pass before I give Derek Carr a pass because he's been a QB on this team for 9 years, and he showed us one good season that is worth being called an MVP for. Or taking us to the playoffs before he snapped his leg. Last season, I don't count. We were lucky. We were so lucky we made the playoffs last season. Six field goals, game-winning field goals. Is that really a playoff team? I mean, I technically, yes. But Carr played like shit the last 4 weeks. He had tons of turnovers. He had tons of problems. He had led some game-winning drives, obviously, because we won those games. But how do you pass for 185 yards in week 18? Yeah, we ran the ball a lot. That's for sure. But how are you playing the same way you did with Zay Jones as your wide receiver 1 and Hunter Renfrow and a terrible O-line, no run game, no Darren Waller? How are you playing the same way as you did with that team, that offense, that you do now with an average O-line, the best wide receiver in football, a top 3 tight end, and a solid slot receiver? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. He's been missing throws. Just bad, like terrible throws. Like he's just making stupid, awful, terrible short throws over the head, making his receivers jump for the ball. Acrobatic catches that aren't like skillful acrobatic. Like they have to somehow throw their body up in the air to try and grab them, or they stare at it as it hits their feet. It's awful. This offense is so disappointing. So disappointing. And they let the defense down. Time and time again, they let the defense down. They put you in a position to win twice by stopping them on downs. One time in the fourth quarter, one time in overtime, and you didn't do anything. Nothing. Not a single. You got one first down out of those 2 things. 8 plays after the turnover on downs. 8 fucking plays. Ends in a fumble recovery for a touchdown for the Cardinals. Ridiculous. I've never been so disappointed in this team. I've been vocally supporting them for long, but I've been a Raiders fan for a while, ever since I was born. I don't remember much up until pretty much Carr was our quarterback, because that's when my cognitive function started working. 2016 was magical. Ever since that he broke his leg, he's never been the same, and he will never ever reach the heights of his 2016 season. That is peak Derek Carr, and we're never coming back to it. And we need just to face the fucking facts. And if he fucking fucks up the game next week, if he has another game like he did yesterday, next week, we need to move on. Obviously not in the middle of the season, but he's done after the season if he doesn't step the fuck up. And if we somehow end up being 9-8, 10-7, that'll almost be worse, because then we can't get a good quarterback, or a promising quarterback at least in the draft. So I don't know what else to say. I've just been livid with him, Derek Carr, the offense, Josh McDaniels not running the ball, I should say, being too aggressive with the throwing. They said last week they would be less aggressive. Oh, congratulations, you ran it 10 more times than you did last week. Congratulations. Zamir White only getting 1 touch. Are you serious? Why'd you draft him for? Should have drafted a QB at that point, or something else. Dylan Parham looked solid. The O-line looked solid. Give up 1 sack. Pressures are going to happen. You're facing J.J. Watt. They're getting paid to play too. O-line's going to win some, you lose some, but they've been playing pretty fucking average. Giving them plenty of time. I don't know what else to say. Just extremely disappointed. Sorry this is coming kind of a long rant, but this has been basically what I've had to think about for the past 24 hours-ish almost since we lost. You've seen me on Twitter. You'll hear my voice saying it. Once again, Derek Carr needs to prove to the fan base, other than his dick riders, that he is a quarterback that can take us to the playoffs and win a playoff game. He hasn't done it. Can he? I don't think so. Not with the way he's been fucking playing. He's playing like a good quarterback. Not great, not elite, not bad. He's been playing fine. Good enough. That's fine when, like, if you had an offense like last year, or when you're under John Gruden and everything gets traded away, your best friend, your O-line gets all fucked up, you have no weapons, yada, yada, yada. But when you have this type of talent on your offense, you have the best wide receiver in football on your team, and you throw the ball to him 7 times, and he's only able to catch 2 of the passes, something's on you at that point. That's you, the quarterback. The most important position in all of sports, the single most important position in all of sports is the quarterback of an NFL franchise. You can have the stellar defense you want, but in this NFL that is not from 20 years ago, when you had the Ravens defense absolutely dominate everything, you need to have a quarterback that can actually win you games. It is all on the quarterback on the offense, especially when he's had all the help this year that he has. It's a team sport, but when you're paid the most money out of any position in sports, like single position in sports, or I should say in the NFL, when you're the highest paid person on average on your team, other than rookie deals and such, when you take up about almost, 20% of your team's cap space, you have 20% of the responsibility for your team to win. 20%. And if you don't do it, the rest of your team is going to struggle. Because when you're being paid $40 million to throw to the best wide receiver in football, you better throw to the best wide receiver in football and make the throws. All right, that's it. I'm done with my rant. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. I could rant forever, but I'm going to stop it here. Leave a comment on, what your thoughts are, how you guys feel about what I said, anything like that. Hopefully we win next week, but I'm not hopeful at all. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, Raider Nation.